You're going to Ilha de Queimada Grande, one of the most dangerous islands in the world. There, you find yourself among rainforests, huge rocks, and grasslands. The place is home to birds, locusts, and giant cockroaches. But there's one more animal, and because of it, the island got its notorious reputation. Snakes live there, and a lot of them. So many that the place is also known as Snake Island. Will you survive there? Located just 20 miles away from the coast of Brazil, the island has an area of 43 hectares, or over 100 acres. It probably got cut off from the mainland after the last ice age. The snakes were also separated from most other animal species. They didn't have competitors and had an unlimited source of food. In such a small area, there are up to 4,000 snakes. That's one snake for every 10 square feet. It would be a difficult feat not to come across a snake on this island. Not only is this snake, the golden lancehead, one of the most numerous on the island, but it's also a highly venomous pit viper species. And it's also one of the most venomous in all of Latin America. Its venom is so potent due to the isolation of the species, with only birds sharing the land with them. To catch these birds, the snake's venom needed to become extra strong. And indeed, since they got separated from their distant relatives, their venom has become up to 5 times more powerful. Most of the time, these snakes hide in the trees or amongst leaves on the ground. If you find yourself stranded here, you'll want to keep yourself a safe distance away. Snakes mainly use their sense of smell and rely on vibrations. If you get too close to one, either stand still or slowly walk away. If you make too many vibrations, this will make them feel threatened, causing them to strike. If you spot them a safe distance away, or if you're walking toward tall grass, stamp your feet a couple of times. This will notify snakes of your presence. They won't risk taking down prey larger than they are and will likely slither away. Carrying a stick is always a good idea, just in case you happen to come across a snake accidentally. This way, you'll have an extension of your arm that cannot be bitten. This simple thing might save your life. A stick with a V shape on the end will give you even more advantage. Even if a snake starts acting aggressively, holding it down will stop it in its tracks. But whatever happens, don't try to pick it up. Okay, but what if you get bitten? The chances are pretty high on this island, of course. First of all, don't try to get the venom out on your own. Make sure you call emergency services immediately. And once help is on the way, apply a wide bandage. A piece of clothing will do if you don't have anything else. Don't try to chase the snake trying to identify the species. Emergency services know how to figure out what venom it is. Now, just keep calm and wait for help. You might be wondering who you can call on this abandoned island. Well, since it's strictly prohibited to visit this place, there are signs advising to stay away all over the island, along with a number you can call if you run into trouble. Let's say you've successfully avoided getting bitten. The next thing to consider is what you can eat there. Snake Island was previously known as Ilha de Queimada Grande, where queimada is Portuguese for forest being lit up, or forest fire. The reason for that was the fact that the entire island was deliberately set on fire to make room for a banana plantation. Unfortunately, the banana business didn't turn out to be a success, probably because farmers got sick and tired of snakes. But some banana trees still thrive today, and they can provide you with some much-needed nutrients. You'll also want some protein in your diet throughout your stay. Luckily, along with the snakes trapped on the island, there are also cockroaches. These giant prehistoric-looking roaches come out at night to feed on plants. Get that barbecue started and enjoy the rare delicacy this island provides. A great way to survive on the island is to avoid it altogether. If by chance you happen to be sailing past, keep in mind that this place was once connected to the mainland. Rocks beneath the waves are very likely to damage the bottom of your boat if you get too close. Make sure you keep an appropriate distance when traveling past. Sure, this island is intriguing, but please remember that no matter how close you get to it, you won't be able to see snakes from the boat. You can only see these creatures if you get close enough, which you really shouldn't do. And it's not only reptiles that make this location dangerous. Pirates visit the island quite often. Not the
sea shanty singing peg-legged arr pirates,
but bio-pirates, who come there to capture the very thing that makes it so dangerous. They come there for snakes, to catch them and sell them illegally. Since the island got cut off around 11,000 years ago, the golden lancehead has evolved within its own unique habitat. So, although there are many reptiles on this island, they're still an endangered species. Due to their limited numbers, their value is very high, reaching up to $30,000 on illegal markets, which gives biopirates the motivation to catch them. I can think of better ways to make a living. Anyway, let's say you've got all the resources necessary to survive in one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Do you think you would manage this feat? Perhaps you think it's impossible. You'd be surprised at how possible it can be, if you know what you're doing. It turns out many have visited this scary place before. Research teams often come there. They study the golden lancehead snake, its environment, and its food sources for conservation purposes. But scientists always make sure there's a doctor on the team. There's also a lighthouse on Snake Island. It had been operated by people until the 1920s. Then it became automated. One guess why. Brazilian authorities visit the lighthouse once a year to make sure it's still functional. Locals on the mainland know the reputation of the island, so the stories of people going missing are minimal. But one group of fishers once got too close to the island. As they were sailing along their normal route, they accidentally neared the shore. Their boat hit a rock under the waves and began filling with water. As the boat was quickly sinking, the men had only two options: to try to survive in the rough sea or swim to the shores of Snake Island. It was a hard choice to make. After all, they had heard the stories, and it wasn't just about snakes. Rumor had it that the island was cursed. Regardless of the stories, the fishers chose to take their chances with Snake Island. After making it to the shore, they tried to be careful. Their knowledge of the island could help them survive. Most importantly, they knew to avoid the rainforest at all costs. As the men got hungry, they carefully walked along the edge of the forest, warily collecting bananas. They were mostly sitting, waiting, and conserving their energy. They could only drink water when it rained. It was just enough to sustain them. They slept on the beach, unprotected from the elements and weather. And all the time, they were so close to the comfort of the lighthouse or caves. They were probably overly cautious, but it was either enduring some discomfort or risking their lives for a dry bed. They didn't yield to the temptation. They managed to survive for 3 days without being bitten by a snake. After that, a passing boat finally rescued them. So, now you know, anything is possible. Danger might await you anywhere. Scammers are getting more sophisticated in their attempts to get closer to you and use their skills to scam you. They use strange things like envelopes in the car and other weird stuff on the hood to target everyone, regardless of their age and background. Let's see how you can recognize the red flags and know what to do. It's late evening. You park your car in the supermarket's lot, lock it, and go shopping. When you return, you see someone has wrapped a shirt around one of your windshield wipers. Don't pause to get the piece of clothing off your windshield if this really happens to you. Instead, get into your car as quickly as possible and drive away. Find a well-lit spot, preferably with other people around, and only then stop and toss the shirt out. It's a relatively new trick criminals use to distract lonely drivers' attention. The shirt or other sizable piece of cloth makes you stop and pull it off. While you're doing this, they can sneak up on you, and who knows what happens then. If you have shopping bags on you, it's best not to open your trunk either, as it also makes you vulnerable to prowlers and prevents you from acting fast. Toss the bags into the car and sort them out later when you're safe. What might be sending even more shivers down your spine is finding an envelope inside your car when you return to it. You definitely locked it, so someone was able to break in. First of all, remember basic security and drive off immediately. Then, best toss the envelope without opening it. There might be something nasty inside for all you know. But suppose your curiosity took the upper hand and you still opened it. In that case, you might find a message inside that says something like, "Here, sir, madam, we've tested your car's security and found it unsatisfactory. As you can see, your car can easily be broken into. We expect you to pay us for this test, and in return, we'll make sure to send someone to help you install a better security system." Well, it's good they've taken nothing, so toss the envelope away and disregard the message. If you pay scammers, they're likely to do it again, or even try something worse. The best you can do is go to a trusted car service and check your security system on your own, or even replace the one you have if you're not sure of its capabilities anymore. A water bottle on your car's hood is a sign you're in grave danger. Like a clothing item on your windshield wipers, it's meant to distract you and make you get out of the car, but this case is even worse. Even if you don't go out to remove the bottle or any other relatively large and distracting object and drive home immediately, you might be up for something terrible. People who put the bottle on your car's hood might have installed a GPS tracker on your car, so driving home puts you at risk of them following you there. You should either find a safe spot with many people around and check your car for the tracker, or go straight to the nearest police station and ask them to do it for you. When a stranger asks you to take a picture of them and gives you a phone, don't be too quick to take it. Look at them first. If they look suspicious or unfriendly, it's better to refuse the request nicely. This might be a fraud. They give you the phone, you turn on the camera and see that it's broken. The image in the photo is damaged. You give the stranger their phone back and they accuse you of breaking the phone. They demand money and start making a scene. In such a situation, it's better not to panic and not to be provoked. Calmly leave. Make it clear that you won't fall for this. And if they behave too aggressively, then call the police. Thieves can put an advertising flyer, a newspaper, or a sticker on your house or apartment door. You can find a piece of paper or a thin strip from a plastic bottle in the doorway. If you don't remove one of these items for a long time, then the thieves understand that you're not at home. This way, thieves mark buildings and apartments that are easy to get into. After all, getting into an empty apartment is much safer. So, as soon as you see a foreign object, immediately get rid of it. If a flyer or bookmark hangs on the door for 1 or 2 days, it tells the thief that no one's home. Of course, these can be real advertising stickers, but you still don't need them. In addition to flyers, there may be strange labels on the house or apartment door, numbers, crosses, or other symbols. It's how burglars mark houses they're about to break into. If you see such a sign, it's better to call the police. You're driving home from work and suddenly notice you're almost out of gas. That's weird, because you recently filled a full tank. You go to the gas station and to the car repair center to check if there is a gas leak in the vehicle. Meanwhile, robbers can take things out of your house. They deliberately drained the fuel from your car so that you'd go to the gas station. They detain you and buy time to clean out your home. If you're sure that you refueled recently and the gas was drained from you, you should call your neighbors and ask them to monitor your house or apartment. Burglars might stage some accident to lure you out of your house. Please don't fall for it. If there is actually some accident, it's always better to call 911. Also, beware of weird calls when someone calls you and keeps silent. If they started bothering you quite often, it could be a sign that your house is now a burglar's target and they want to check if you're home. Always make sure that the taxi meter is working when you get into a cab. If you take a seat and the driver tells you the meter is broken, you'd better get out at once and call another car. You could get charged much more than the regular fee without the meter, especially if you're not a local. Your car's broken down in the middle of an interstate, so you call a towing service. But in less than 5 minutes, a tow truck stops by and the driver offers you help. It's best to reject the offer politely. Granted, you'll have to wait longer, but at least you won't be overcharged. There are towing companies that take advantage of unfortunate drivers stranded in the middle of nowhere. This kind stranger might take your car prisoner until you pay double the regular charge. If you're not sure the tow truck that's arrived at your help is the one you called for, call the service again and ask for the number on the license plate. When you choose a parking spot, it's best to avoid those next to larger vehicles than yours. They block your line of sight, and you can quickly become the target for someone with bad intentions hiding behind the van or truck next to your car. When someone calls you and says they're representing your bank, be aware that bank employees will never ask you for your account information, including your PIN or a one-time code sent to your phone. If someone asks you for that, best hang up and call the bank on your own. Just use the number on its website. Paying with your bank card or through the e-wallet via a trusted service is the only safe way to pay online. If a company asks you specifically to pay in an unusual way, such as a gift card, a voucher, or a transfer to another bank card through your online banking app, mark it as a huge red flag for scammers. A real company wouldn't make you do that, and they'll also provide you with an electronic check afterward. It was a routine flyover for the Coast Guard. Miles and miles of deep blue ocean. Suddenly, guardsmen noticed a makeshift flag on a deserted island between Key West and Cuba. They lowered from 500 feet to see what was going on there. 2 men and a woman were waving hands in distress. It was apparent they needed immediate help. The crew couldn't land at once because of the bad weather, but they dropped some food, water, and a radio to discover why they were there. They learned the castaways had been there in the Bahamas for a whopping 33 days already. Their boat hit a storm and capsized, and all they could do was swim to the nearest island. They also informed the crew the woman needed help as soon as possible. The next day, the rescue crew arrived in a helicopter and took the castaways to a hospital in Key West. This helped them avoid any serious consequences for their health. Everyone who took part in the rescue operation was surprised at how well the rescuees handled the situation and how coherent their speech was. So, 5 weeks on an island with no food or drinkable water sources. How did they survive, you might ask? Well, they were smart enough to have used coconuts to stay hydrated and conchs for food. And they did a great job building the flag for prospective rescuers to see. That's one of the secrets of surviving if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. Burn damp or wet wood to produce some smoke. Arrange flares in a triangle. Pile large rocks spelling out SOS or help. These are all internationally recognized distress signals. If you're changing your location for some reason, leave an arrow made out of rocks, showing which direction you went. To ensure the rescuers can not only see you, but hear you, make a whistle out of an acorn. Hold an acorn cap with both hands between your thumb and index finger. Make a triangle with your thumbs near the top of the acorn. Hold it close to your mouth and let some air through that triangle in the cap. You've got to practice a bit to make a loud sound. Ouch! That was too loud. If you get lost, remember the rule of 3 to stay calm and do the right things in the correct order. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours in extreme temperature, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So, start with building a shelter, then get water, and only then take care of the food. If you're in better luck than the Bahamas castaways and have some matches with you, make them waterproof. Cover them with a thin layer of transparent nail polish and let them dry well. To always have something to light them with, glue a piece of sandpaper to a plastic box lid and put matches inside. Packing for a hike? Cotton clothing won't keep you safe and warm out in the wild. It takes forever to dry from sweat or rain, and wet clothes lose heat 25 times faster than dry clothes. If you don't want to freeze, go for polyester, nylon, or wool. Pack some microfiber towels with you that dry in 1 hour. What is that buzzing? Before you run away in horror, remember that the presence of bees is a good sign. They usually don't go further than 4 to 5 miles away from a water source. But it looks pretty dirty, huh? You can use your t-shirt or a bandana as a water filter. Put one end of it in a container filled with muddy water, standing above an empty container for clean water. The other end goes in there, and the water pours in, cleaning itself on the way. Make sure to boil the filtered water before you drink it. Ran out of water? The trees have got you covered. They always lose some water to the atmosphere, and it's all yours to trap. Find a thick green tree with a lot of branches. Around sunrise, tie a plastic bag over the branch with the most leaves to cover them completely. Add a small rock to the bag to weigh it down a bit. During the day, the water from the leaves will condense right into your bag. The final product will be so pure, you won't even need to filter it. If you see a halo around the sun, it's a clear sign low pressure is approaching. And it will surely bring some rain or snow in the next 24 to 36 hours. If the halo is broken, you can even predict where the storm is coming from, right from the damaged side. Sounds like a storm is coming. You can make yourself a waterproof trash bag mini shelter to come out of it dry and warm. Just make a hole for your face and put it on. Use 2 bags to keep your feet dry too. If you hear thunder, count the seconds between it and the lightning flash. If it's less than 30 seconds, you have to hide somewhere because the storm is too close. If you can't do that, stay away from tall lone trees. If you're in a group, spread out to minimize the risks of everyone getting shocked. You can also build an A-frame shelter out of a trash bag. Find some sticks for the central rib. Split the bag into a blanket and cover the rib with it. Use 4 rocks to keep the corners down. Trash bag or no trash bag, never build your shelter on damp ground or on the top of hills. The wind might get extra strong at night, and there will be no trees to protect your shelter from flying away. Now that you've got yourself some shelter, make a good bed inside. Use dry leaves or grass. Get them under your clothes or blankets for an extra layer of insulation. This tip works both for winter and summertime. You always risk losing more body heat than you can produce. Don't have a rope on you? You can make one yourself out of plants. Find some long grasses, or even better, dry ones, and weave them together in a braid or just a cord. You can also use bark from trees or branches you find on the ground. Before you venture into the wild, and especially the wild with plenty of bushes and thickets, make sure your shoelaces won't get caught on the branches. Tape the loose ends with duct tape to your upper ankle, and voila, you won't fall, at least because of tangled laces. As you prepare for your adventure, master at least one basic knot. Trust me, it can be life-saving. The bowline will help you if you need to attach something to a rope via a loop. The tighter you pull, the tighter the knot gets. Lay the rope across your hand and form a small loop in it. Pull the free end up and take it through the eye from the underside. Sounds too complicated? Remember it like this. The rabbit comes out of the hole, around the tree, then back down the hole. So yes, you gotta wrap the line around the standing line and take it back down through the loop. Now tighten it and your knot is ready. If you have some food on you that you'd like to keep edible for longer, put it into a plastic bag or thin fabric and seal it up. You can use a rubber band, a hair tie, or a bungee cord. Dig a hole in the loose soil deep enough to host your food. Cover it with a hand towel so hungry animals don't find it before you. Refill the hole with soil and add some moss, straw, or leaves to smooth it down. If there's some ice or snow available, use it for a super cooling effect. Be sure to mark your cache somehow so you can find it later. Now you have 2 to 3 days before the perishables go bad.
You can turn ordinary matches into waterproof ones. Apply a thin coat of nail polish to the matches and let it dry. Once they're ready, they'll stay dry enough to start a fire even if you drop the matches in the water. If you get lost somewhere during the winter and need a drink, then don't eat snow. It has much more air than water, so you won't even feel much more hydrated. Your body also wastes a lot of energy trying to eat it. Even worse, you might lower your body temperature and could even get sick. If you find yourself face to face with a coyote or a wolf, don't turn your back. Slowly retreat while facing the animal. This might only work for a single animal though. If you meet a pack, then the most important thing is to make sure that they don't surround you. Back away towards a tree and press your back against it. Then choose the right moment and climb it as quickly as possible. Several layers of clothing will warm you better than one warm fur coat or down jacket. Air will be trapped between the clothing layers, insulating you and keeping your body warm. If you get lost in the woods, always try to sleep a little above the ground. You can lay on a layer of branches and leaves as a makeshift bed, or stretch a hammock out between some trees. At night, the temperature drops and the ground becomes cold. Even if you build a fire, it could go out while you sleep, and the ground will be sapping your body heat. You're in a boat in the middle of the sea, no food, no fishing net, and you're hungry. It was supposed to be only a 3-hour tour. Well, guess what? You can catch fish with the help of shoelaces and any object – phone, watch, or keys. The shadow cast by the boat in the sea can attract fish, and a reflective object can work as bait. Tie your keys to your shoelaces and use them as a fishing rod. Even if a fish doesn't bite, activities like this are a good way to maintain a healthy mind on the open sea. A short meditation can save you from a panic attack. You need to focus on your breathing and try to slow it down. Your brain will quickly calm down and turn its focus away from the panic. Oxygen masks in airplanes work on the same principle. When you control your breathing, your attention is redirected away from whatever bad thing is happening. You can make a torch out of a log. Put a small log vertically, make a deep star-shaped cut on the top. Put dry grass, leaves, and sticks inside. Once you're done, set fire to the log and watch it burn for up to 3 hours. This should work the same regardless of the size and type of wood. Now, if you meet an angry grizzly bear, never try to run away because the bear can easily outrun you. Instead, lie down and don't move. Grizzlies only usually attack when they see a threat, so they'll often leave you alone if you show them that you won't cause them any problems. This only works with grizzly bears though. If a confrontation is unavoidable, back away slowly and use bear spray. If you don't have any, pepper spray will work similarly and should disorient the bear and scare it away. Or not. Don't eat berries or mushrooms in the forest if you don't know exactly what they are. They could be poisonous. If you have no other option, eat the inner bark of maples, birches, and pines to fill your stomach. Use a knife to cut away the rough outer bark and get to the softer white stuff. You can boil it to make it even softer, or cook it over an open fire to make a crunchy snack. And if you're really starving, you can look for ants. They might not be the most appetizing, but they're pretty nutritious. If you don't have a watch, you can use your fingers to find out how much time is left until sunset. Raise your hand so the inside of your palm is facing you. Your fingers should be between the sun and the horizon line. See how many fingers can fit in this space. The thickness of one finger equals about 15 minutes, so you can calculate the time left before sunset. If you're lost and need to build a fire to attract attention, throw in a lot of pine, cedar branches, cones, and any unnecessary rubber objects. Your fire will emit more black smoke, which makes it visible from afar. If you have no water in the desert but have some food, try to avoid eating for as long as you can. The more you eat, the more thirsty you'll get. The body needs liquid to digest food, so it'll use up what little you have. A person can live much longer without food than without water, so don't be afraid to stay hungry. Hey, you found a huge puddle of dirty water in the forest. If you're desperate for a drink, you can fill your bottle and filter it into drinking water. To clean it, make a rope of gauze or clothing. Put one end into the dirty bottle and the other one into the empty one. Before long, the clean water will flow into the empty bottle through the rope while the impurities are left behind. Before hiking, replace your regular shoelaces with paracord shoelaces. If you don't have enough rope, these laces can give you a few extra feet in a pinch. If you're lost in the forest and have nothing to warm you, then take dry leaves and grass from the ground and put it between 2 layers of clothing. This will help you stay warm for a long time. When you're lost in the desert, try to move as little as possible during the day. Find a shadow or create it from improvised materials and sit in the shade until dark. At night, you'll spend much less energy and use up less fluid while you walk. This will help you to avoid the risk of a heat stroke. If you fall through some ice, don't try to get out like you would in a pool. If you put your hands on the ice and try to push yourself out with your arms, it could crack and make you fall back into the water. You need to stretch your arms parallel to the ice surface and stretch your legs way back so they float in the water. In this horizontal position, start waving your legs as if you're swimming. Move your arms carefully without putting too much weight on the ice, and you should be able to escape. If you need to build a fire while it's too windy, here's what to do. Dig 2 holes next to each other and create a small underground tunnel between them. Make a fire in one of the pits. The wind can't extinguish it, and the fire gets its air through the second pit. This method is also useful if you need to build a fire without drawing attention. In the dark, this kind of fire won't be visible. Don't throw away or pop bubble wrap. Take it on a hike with you. It will protect you from the cold better than even a thick blanket would. Those tiny air bubbles are perfect insulation. Just put it in between layers of clothing and it'll stop any warmth from escaping. The plastic it's made of is also waterproof, so it can stop you from getting wet too. Swimming in the sea not far from the shore, you can easily get swept up in rip currents. If this happens, the most important thing to remember is not to swim against the current. This will only waste your strength and sap your energy, and you're unlikely to ever overpower an ocean current. Instead, try to swim sideways along the shore. Sooner or later, you should get out of the current, and then you can safely swim to the beach. If you're stuck in a falling elevator, don't try to jump at the moment of collision. Don't take a sitting position or stand either. You need to lie on the floor, facing the ceiling. Spread your legs as wide as possible, cover your face with one hand, and put the other hand behind your head for protection. You reduce the pressure on your body in this position when you fall. Ooh, you're lost! A rescue helicopter flies over the forest, but you don't have a flare and don't have time to build a fire. Use a small mirror or phone screen to reflect the sunlight. Aim the light beam towards the helicopter. Rescuers should notice the glare and fly over to save you. Whew, you're in the heart of the Sahara Desert. You're going to take part in a marathon. From this point, you need to walk 600 miles east to the meeting point. You want to prove to yourself that you can survive in any conditions. Open sea, the icy lands of Antarctica, the Amazon jungle. You've been everywhere. And now it's the turn of the hot desert. The key to success in any journey is preparation. You take a large backpack filled with necessary stuff. A small hatchet for chopping off dry branches, a compass, a sleeping bag. You can't rely on GPS as the connection may be lost in the desert. Matches, a first aid kit, water purification tablets, a flashlight. Also, you need a scarf, a bandana, sealed glasses that will protect your eyes from sand, and light clothing that can cover your entire body. A raincoat or a tent will also be useful. You need all this to protect your body from sand and sunlight. For the same reason, you pack gloves too. You can't eat highly nutritious food. To digest it, your body needs a lot of energy and liquid, and those are the most important and sparse things in the desert. Diet bars or dried fruits are great options. Also, you need a lot of water. A lot of water. It's safer to take several smaller bottles than one large container. If this container gets damaged, you'll be left without water. And when you have several bottles, you reduce this risk. The backpack is filled and you're ready to start your journey. A helicopter takes you to the middle of the desert. First of all, you lubricate your nostrils with a moisturizing cream. This is necessary to prevent the mucous membranes from drying. Hot air can burn your nose, and you can't breathe through your mouth not to lose valuable moisture. You walk a few feet and stop. It would be a mistake to travel through such a hot place during the day. You'll start sweating and lose a lot of liquid, but your water reserves are limited. The ideal time for traveling is in the evening and during the night. At this time, it gets cold. You'll need to move more to keep warm. So you find an old fallen tree and tie an awning to it. You've created a shadow, which means your sleeping spot is ready. It's important to move as little as possible to save your energy. You open the map and pull out your compass. Then you check the route, look around, and study the desert landscape so you can navigate it more easily. You want to drink some water, but you stop yourself. It's better not to drink for 24 hours to make your body go into survival mode. You close your eyes and fall asleep. Sand is blowing in your face. You get up and see a sandstorm approaching you. The tree near which you've been sleeping seems too fragile. It won't withstand the storm. You urgently need some shelter. You put on your glasses, tie the scarf around your head, and moisten it to make breathing easier. If you didn't have a scarf, you'd need to cover your face with your hands. All parts of your body must be protected with clothing. Tiny grains of sand collide with your skin at great speed. Despite the protection, you feel some of them on your face. There is no shelter where you can hide nearby. It could be a large stone, a tree, but nothing. Now you need to find a hill. During the storm, the grains not only fly but also bounce off the ground and one another. When you're on a hill, most sand grains fall down its slopes, and you remain more or less unscathed. You need to get to high ground as soon as possible, since it's hard to move in such conditions. You're losing too much energy. You even have to walk backward with your back turned to the wind to protect your face. The storm is getting stronger, but fortunately, you're already rising. You find yourself on a small sandy hill. You wrap your tent around your body and wait. Tired, you fall asleep again. A couple of hours pass. You open your eyes and hear silence. The storm is over. You remove the tent, shake off the sand, and inspect the territory. The evening is getting closer. The sun is no longer warm. You take out the compass with a map to check the route. But in the next moment, you find out the sandstorm has completely changed the surrounding landscape. It's difficult to navigate using the map when there are no familiar landmarks. You can easily stray off course and get lost. So you're not sure where to go. But you have water and food, and other people know approximately your location. In this case, it's better for you to stay where you are. They will start looking for you and eventually find you. You won't waste your energy and reserves, but you look at the compass, at the map, and decide to go east. You're here to complete the marathon, whatever it takes. The night is quite cold, but constant movement helps you stay warm. You check your pockets and find out that you've lost your matches during the storm. Then you see a dry tree ahead. You chop off some of its branches and tie them to your backpack. While walking, you leave markers on the sand. Those are branches with pieces of cloth tied to them stuck in the ground. This way, you can help rescuers find you if you don't get to the meeting point. It's dawn. The sun is scorching. You find another tree, create a shade using the tent, drink some water, and fall asleep. At night, you cut off the branches of the tree and again wander through the desert. It seems that you're lost. Your water is running out faster than planned. You're snacking on an energy bar, and your body demands even more water. The most important thing in this situation is to stay calm. Fear drains your energy. You try to imagine the desert as your home, and you know it perfectly. This gives you strength and confidence. You find the ruins of an old building and hide in its shadow. After that, you put the branches in one pile and set them on fire with a mirror. You need the fire so that rescuers notice the smoke. Unfortunately, there's no helicopter flying in the sky. You continue on your way the next night and discover that only one bottle of water is left. You try to eat as little as possible so that your body doesn't waste energy on digesting food. It makes you weaker. Now your goal is to replenish your supplies. To do this, you need to wait for dawn. Then you'll look at the sky, find the clouds, and go in that direction. Where there are clouds, there should be life and water. But very soon, you understand that the sun is too hot. You make a shadow again. Exhausted, you lie down and quickly fall asleep. The sun has changed its position and is now shining straight on you. Its heat wakes you up. You don't have any water left. You get up and look for some rocks or vegetation. You can get some liquid from grass, plants, or bushes. After rains, moisture remains under stones for a long time. Pick them up and check, but carefully. Scorpions, snakes, and spiders can hide there. Also, you need to look at the sand to find some animal or insect traces. Animals always go toward water sources, and you need to follow them. But be very attentive. Those can be traces of cheetahs or African wild dogs. You're too weak to defend yourself against them. You need to spot the animals from afar and wait for them to drink first. You find some footprints. A group of spotted hyenas is walking in the distance. You slowly follow them. They lead you to an oasis. You wait for a couple of hours for them to get enough to drink. Finally, they leave the place, and you can quench your thirst. Don't forget to throw purification tablets into the water. But even if you don't have them, you should drink anyway. In any case, it can't get any worse. Also, it's important not to drink a lot at once. Your body is exhausted and can't process a lot of liquid quickly. You drink slowly, in small sips. It feels as if you can do this for hours. Then you eat and pour some water into your bottles. No longer hungry, feeling satisfied and happy, you fall asleep again. Some noise wakes you up. A helicopter. It's flying right over you. You scream and wave your hands, but the rescuers don't notice you. It's too late to make a fire. The helicopter is leaving. Think. You take out the mirror, catch a sunbeam, and direct it at the helicopter. The rescuers have noticed you. You're saved. On the outside, the surface of this lake looks like the aftermath of a disaster. Empty tree trunks spike out of the turquoise waters. The lake is surrounded by mountains, making it a quiet but unsettling place. But those who dare to swim under these dangerous waters will soon discover a whole new world. This isn't the beginning of a fairy tale. It's the actual story of Kayindi Lake, located in Sati, Kazakhstan. Back in 1911, an earthquake caused a major landslide in this location. The valley created eventually filled up with rainwater, practically submerging the forest. The trees that are located above the waters might look very sad, but beneath the surface, they remind you of an underwater forest. Since the waters are crystal clear most of the time, you can still see this fascinating view even from its shores. The ice-cold water makes this lake so tricky and, at times, even dangerous. And don't forget about all the algae, plants, and submerged trees that can rapidly become risky obstacles. Hey, I enjoy a steamy hot bath, but this boiling lake I'll tell you about now is really the stuff of scary dreams. It's located on the Caribbean island of Dominica, and its waters have temperatures between 180 and 197 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's just around the edges, since no one has ever dared to reach the middle of the lake to measure its core temperature. It's true that the heat can go down from time to time, but you never know when these waters may start to boil again. The place is also dangerous because of the gases it releases, such as carbon dioxide. It doesn't smell nice, trust me, but that's mostly because of the sulfur stuck in the steamy air. This seemingly calm lake also carries a dangerous surprise. Lake Manan, located in West Province, Cameroon. It's one of the few erupting lakes on the whole planet, similar to a volcano, and most of the time it does so without any warnings. Its last eruption dates back to 1894, when it caused serious damage. The chemical mechanism of such lakes works like a can of soda that you shake before opening. There are risky gases on the bottom of the waters, so any disturbance on the surface may trigger their eruption. Natron Lake in Tanzania may be beautiful to watch because of its unique reddish coloring, but it's definitely not a place you'd want to take a swim in. While the water is extremely salty, it also combines with algae, which, by the way, are responsible for the coloring. And that's not even the riskiest thing about it. Natron Lake has pH levels so high that they become corrosive. If you dampen a piece of dyed material in this lake, it'll soon be stripped of its color. These high levels of acidity can also cause serious problems to the human skin. It's not all bad for some creatures, as Lake Natron is the only home to over 2.5 million small flamingos. These acidic and brackish waters support their survival, so it's no wonder they like to stick around. Lake Nicaragua's danger factor has less to do with chemistry and more to do with its inhabitants. It's located on the border of Costa Rica and Nicaragua and is the largest freshwater lake in Central America. When you first look at it, you won't think it can be dangerous, but because of the bull sharks inhabiting it, I wouldn't recommend taking a swim. Sharks tend to be unpredictable and at times intimidating creatures. Plus, they will eat everything if needed. Scientists initially believed this species of shark was only found in this lake, but they soon discovered that people had seen the same sharks in the Caribbean Sea. These astonishing creatures not only cross a distance of over 120 miles to get here, but can also adapt to freshwater, something not all fish can do. Belize's Great Blue Hole may seem alluring to divers. I mean, it has a gorgeous deep blue color and is pretty close to the mainland, about 62 miles. The problem is that beneath the surface of these tranquil waters is a mixed-up series of tunnels which contain many types of coral and other wildlife. These caves are what makes diving through the Great Blue Hole tricky. More so, specialists discover that deeper into the waters there are fewer and fewer creatures. Why? Because of a hidden layer of hydrogen sulfide that spans over the whole width of the sinkhole. Since there's no oxygen, no creature can ever survive this deep into the hole. Lake Lanier is the largest lake in the state of Georgia. It has a lot of visitors each year, about 11 million, so that's about the same number as visiting the Louvre Museum in Paris. Despite its popularity, a lot of accidents happen on this lake, and nobody knows for sure why. One of the explanations may lie beneath the surface of this mysterious lake. There's a lot of debris and rubble in there, along with random objects that have been tossed in, like boats, lawn chairs, and even fishing wire. All this creates a tricky underwater obstacle course. With the added low visibility on the surface of the lake, this place can become risky to navigate. Another one of those lakes that looks like someone might have overdone with editing is the Grand Prismatic Spring, located in Yellowstone National Park, which stretches into the states of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. Swimming here is completely prohibited. Why? It's 189 degrees Fahrenheit in the center, almost close to boiling temperatures, and the outermost ring reaches around 131, hence the colors. Since the center of the water is way too hot for any life to make it, there's nothing clouding the surface. The lack of any living organisms here creates that vivid blue that looks almost painted over. On the small Mediterranean island of Cyprus, there's not a lot of rain during the summer. That's why some bodies of water here become so dry that in certain areas they get covered in a layer of baked salt. It's the case for the Larnaca Salt Lake. Now don't be fooled by the eerie landscape. These lands can easily become a trap. That's because it's easy to get confused about what's actually a dry surface and what's just a thin layer of salt on top of water or mud. More so, underneath the crust are salt crystals, which can cause problems for people's skin. Sameesan Hole is one of the most dangerous places to swim in the whole of Thailand. It's because it's very deep, reaching 280 feet, and gets extremely dark. At certain points, as divers get lower, they can even reach places with zero visibility. No wonder a lot of people get confused and can't seem to find their way up anymore. The largest lake in Africa and the third largest lake in the entire world is called Lake Victoria. Not all of its waters are unsafe for people, but some regions can rapidly cause problems. Why? Particularly because it has its own isolated weather system, and that makes the weather really unreliable. It can go from bright and sunny to terrible in a matter of seconds. I mean, who would want to get caught swimming in the middle of a storm, right? Pustoye Lake is located in Siberia, so I'm guessing I don't need to tell you the waters here get extremely cold. But if you look at the lake, there's nothing out of the ordinary with these waters. Is that completely true? Most likely not. And people tend to avoid swimming here at all costs, even if they can resist the freezing cold waters. So, what makes Lake Pustoye so mysterious and dangerous? Well, nothing seems to want to live here, and scientists have yet to discover why. They tried to fill the lake with many types of fish and various plant species to see if they could survive in the waters, but the results were disappointing. Since we don't know exactly what makes it so difficult to survive here, don't go running for your swimming trunks just yet. It's best if you stay away. Hey, you don't have to tell me twice.
You're walking down the street and hear a familiar buzzing. You're so scared, you sweat and stop. The next second, you notice a yellow beetle with black stripes. The smell of your sweat attracted this bug. It's like nectar to it. No worries though, it can't bite you. The only thing this bug can do is lick you. And no, it's not a bee. This is a hoverfly, a kind of flies. Unlike bees, bumblebees, and wasps, It's harmless, but this is not the only reason why. You shouldn't squish it. Hoverflies pollinate plants around them. Just like bees, they're crucial for nature's life cycle. The larvae of these beetles are indispensable helpers in any garden. They feed on aphids and other flower pests. When still a larva, one hoverfly can eat about 400 aphids. Imagine how many parasites thousands of larvae can destroy. These kind and harmless insects have no chance of resisting their enemies, birds and predatory insects. So they developed an amazing deceptive way of protection. Hoverflies are actors in the world of bugs. They learned to mimic the appearance of bees and wasps to instill fear in those who want to eat them. Many animals and insects know how painful a wasp can bite, so they are wary of them. When a spider, a mantis, or a bird notices hoverflies, they are afraid to approach because they think it's a bee. But appearance alone is not enough, so these amazing flies can move like bees. Some species imitate a bite, flying towards the enemy, pretending they have a bee sting. Some hoverflies also raise their front paws above their heads to make them look like bees' antennas. Their behavior is sending a clear message to prospective enemies. Don't get closer, I'm a wasp, and I'm going to sting you. But the coolest thing about rare types of hoverflies is their annoying hum. They make a sound resembling the buzzing of bees and scare away foes more effectively. Bees don't fight hoverflies. They pollinate flowers together and drink nectar. So don't squish it. It's not going to do you any bad. By the way, even if a bee or a wasp are flying nearby, don't try to hit them. Most likely, you won't catch them with the first hit, which will make the bugs angry. Just be calm, and the bee will fly away. Another insect you shouldn't crush is the ladybug. First, it's beautiful, and it can be yellow, orange, red, gray, and black. Not all of them have spots. Second, it doesn't pose any danger to you. But the main reason to keep ladybugs safe is that they feed on aphids and many other soft-bodied insect pests. So they can be a great help in the garden. The green lacewing is a tiny, fragile insect with transparent wings that resembles a miniature alligator because of its green color. Adult lacewings aren't that useful. They feed on nectar and make your garden more beautiful with their good looks. But at an earlier stage of life, these insects are effective aphid exterminators. That's why lacewing's larvae are called aphid lions. They also eat ticks and eggs of other insect pests. Bees are considered to be the most useful bugs in the world. According to some studies, they pollinate about 80% of fruits, vegetables, grains, and nuts in the US. In one day, one bee can pollinate a huge number of flowers and trees. They also produce honey. According to research, honey is a product with an unlimited shelf life. Scientists have discovered an ancient Egyptian tomb and found plates with edible honey in there. Bees are absolutely necessary for our planet. About a third of the world's food production requires bee pollination. Cows eat vegetation that bees pollinate, and if there were no bees, it would greatly affect the health of all the world's cattle. A lot of fruits and berries would lose their taste if the bees stopped fertilizing them. We get most of the cotton on the planet thanks to pollination by these insects. There would be a shortage of genes if the bees disappeared. The taste of many products would deteriorate, and the food would likely lose its useful properties. So, think twice before swatting at a bee. These bugs look like huge mosquitoes. They have long paws and a thin proboscis. Don't squish them. They are craneflies, some of the most harmless and gentle insects on the planet. They mostly live near water and close to large vegetation in moist places. They don't bite anyone with their long proboscis, but use it to feed on the plant's nectar. Some species don't have a mouth and proboscis at all. They don't eat anything and live a short life. They use fat reserves they have accumulated while they were larvae. Some people believe if you see this insect, it's a sign the frosts are over, and spring will come soon. You shouldn't catch them because they are an important element in nature. Many frogs, birds, spiders, fish, and insects feed on craneflies. It's better to let a cranefly be someone's lunch than crush it. A house centipede is a pretty terrifying insect to encounter. This long creature with 15 pairs of long legs can live in your bathroom or even bedroom. But don't touch it. A centipede is a helpful neighbor. It preys on small insect pests, controls the population of cockroaches, midges, flies, termites, and other bugs. A centipede won't appear in your house just like that. It comes only if there's some crawling food for it in the room. You can squish it and relax for a while, but then small pests will arrive at your house. If you give a centipede a chance, it will destroy all unwanted guests and leave. These creatures are solitary predators and won't start a colony or build a nest on your bed. They don't carry any diseases either. And of course, they won't be the first to attack you. Most likely, they'll just run away if you scare them. By the way, they run fast. Other friendly but scary-looking neighbors you might have are spiders. They catch bed bugs, mosquitoes, flies, and other small insects. If you have a black widow or some other poisonous species in your house, it's better to call a pest control service to get rid of those monsters. Mantises are quite helpful creatures. They hunt insects that spoil your flowers and do it so effectively. They can exterminate entire colonies. They can control the population of some bugs. Many people buy mantises and release them in their gardens. A brown marmorated stink bug isn't helpful or too friendly, so you'd better not touch it. These bugs emit an awful smell when they sense any danger. Squishing them has the same effect. This is a pretty effective way to defend against enemies for these creatures. Stink bugs are pests and aren't welcome in any home. To get rid of them, use a vacuum cleaner or a bowl of soapy water. Throw a bug there, and the soap will stop the unpleasant smell and minimize damage to your smell receptors. Earwigs are not as nasty as you might think. And no, they don't crawl into your ears to lay eggs there. This is a common myth that turned them into dangerous enemies for many people. In reality, they're your friends and helpers. Earwigs have forceps, but they use them for defense, not attack. Don't touch this insect if you see it in your garden, because it helps to dispose of rotten leaves, herbs, and plants. Earwigs are scavengers. If you found them in your apartment, then carefully use a piece of paper to throw it outside. You're unlikely to see peacock spiders in your house because they live in the forests of Australia. But if you happen to run into one, don't try to squish it. These tiny creatures are the size of a grain of rice. They are poisonous, but their jaws can't bite through human skin. So, they are harmless. They have a multicolored pattern similar to peacocks. They use it not to scare some enemies, but to attract female spiders. They dance to mate and have offspring. In total, there are about 50 species of peacock spiders, and they all dance differently. They lift their buttocks, shake them, and tap their paws on the floor. They are some of the cutest spiders in the world. They belong to the jump spiders family, which means they don't spin webs. Instead, they stalk their prey like a leopard, then jump on it and inject venom. They can attack a prey 3 times bigger than their size.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.